So over the years I've tried growing early tomatoes quite a few times and tried various different techniques and things like that, and basically just never been happy with them. Never been happy with the yield, never been happy with the taste, never been happy with the amount of space that they're occupying and the amount of care and attention that they need. So I've basically just given up with early tomatoes, and I've always just been fairly happy with that decision because, you know, it's just been far too much effort really for the amount of reward. And also we're just lucky that the Booth supermarket that's just around the corner from the allotment site here gets locally grown tomatoes from, you know, professional glasshouses that taste absolutely fantastic, and, you know, nice and early in the season, and they're organic, so, you know, really nothing much to complain about, and I'm certainly not missing out. But as I'm kind of walking around my garden this afternoon, I was looking at the Tumbler tomatoes. I'm going to show you them in a minute, and I'm going to compare those with the tomatoes in the Polytunnel, some of which were planted, you know, moderately early. So I think I'll put the exact dates up as an overlay, because you know what I'm like with trying to remember dates. But yeah, I think I started some of them back in March, and then so they were the earliest ones that went into the Polytunnel. And then I had some more in April, but the tumblers, I planted those towards the end of April, you know, so not late at all, and they're just doing amazing, and they did just as well last year, and I thought it must have been a freak last year, but no, exactly the same results this year. So I'll show you the way that I do these tumblers, and it's different to the way most people do them, I think, and hopefully it is, otherwise it would be a bit of a pointless video. But what I'm going to try and do is maybe just 1 or 2 tubs of tumblers just that little bit earlier in the Polytunnel as well next year, just to see how they go. So I'm going to break my rule about trying to grow early tomatoes and just give it a go. So let's take a look. So I'm actually really happy with the tomatoes in the Polytunnel. You know, I've got some fantastic trusses. I've been picking them for a while now. We've got some, you know, I pick them every week, so there's obviously not very many right ones, but I'm only getting probably a litre, maybe 1.5 litres of tomatoes from this whole Polytunnel. You know, it's a big Polytunnel, there's a lot of tomatoes in here, and you know, admittedly these here are cooking tomatoes, and, you know, they're nowhere near ready yet, but I've still got probably 10 or 11 plants in here, so quite a big commitment of space. And, you know, this very big expensive Polytunnel that cost me about £1,000, which admittedly is mainly used for autumn, winter and spring crops. It's just tomatoes in the summer, but yeah, not a huge yield for all this space and all these massive plants. Now obviously one of the benefits of them is they are going to keep on delivering tomatoes for a very long time. I mean, there's loads of nice big trusses here that are going to keep on going for ages. But in terms of early tomatoes, you know, 1 litre, 1.5 litres of tomatoes a week is nothing to write home about. So let's contrast that with the tumblers. So this is the contrast that I wanted to make in such a small area, and bearing in mind that I harvested these yesterday. These are the tumblers. No messing around with supporting them, no polytunnel to protect them, you know, just these nice big containers. And I think it's partly the containers and partly the location that's made the difference. So these are the tumblers anyway, in a 30 litre container, just with bloodfish and bone as the fertiliser. And those, for example, are the Crimson Crush. I haven't harvested a single one of those yet, but by comparison, you know, you can see the tumblers are just yielding such a huge number of tomatoes, really, you know, nice and early. As I said, no protection, nothing fancy, no supports, no side shooting, nothing. Again, just a single plant. So I think if I was just to grow one tomato, it would definitely be Tumbler, and it would definitely be outside, and it would definitely be just in these big 30-litre containers. And I'm definitely going to try just a few tubs of these in the Polytunnel nice and early next year, and I'll take them outside at the beginning of June. So I'll just start them in the Polytunnel just a few weeks earlier. And, you know, I don't know whether I've already mentioned this, but the key thing here is that these Tumbler were planted 24th of April, and they're giving this nice early yield by comparison with the ones in the Polytunnel, which were at least a month earlier, and these are outside. So there you go. I love them. I think they're great, and we did a taste test actually this afternoon, and they went down really well. And we've been harvesting them now for only about 10 days or something like that. So they're not incredibly early, but what is early about them is just the comparison of the yield from them with the yield from the tomatoes that are in the Polytunnel. So my name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and if you've got any great varieties of tomatoes for a really early crop, then let me know in the comments. See you soon.